Grand rising, everyone. I like coming to live, spreading coffee, come a coffee here. hmm Got some Guatemalan organic roast, which is awesome. Okay, let's get started. Reading from the Emerald Tablet, Alchemy for Personal Transformation. Um, so see how far we can get in before I just kind of go off on a tangent like I typically do. Okay, so we talked about the history of the tablet. Like the exalted life of Hermes Trismegistus, the history of the Emerald Tablet is clouded with myths and legends. Several contemporary authors have even suggested that the tablet was gifted from extraterrestrials or originated in the lost civilization of Atlantis. A few have postulated that Thoth, either as alien or Atlantean, wrote the tablet 36,000 years ago and was incarnated several times over the centuries to propagate the principles or its principles. According to the other sources, the tablet was created in Egypt about 10,000 years ago. Though some historians point to the date around 3000 BCE when the Phoenicians settled in Syria's coast. Egyptian papyri dating back for 2000 BCE contain many of the same phrases and principles stated in the Emerald Tablet, including the references to the one mind and the one thing. So we talked about the one mind and the one thing and what that meant, and the correspondence between the above and the below. The papyrus, known as an invocation to Hermes, which dates back to Hellenistic Egypt, actually mentions a tablet. I know your name in the Egyptian tongue, and your true name is as is written in the on the holy tablet in the holy place at the Hemer- Hermopolis, where you did and have your birth. Wherever it came from, the Emerald Tablet contains extremely succinct summary of the Hermetic tradition, undoubtedly the oldest spiritual tradition in the West. The oldest spiritual tradition ever. It's part of alchemy. Alchemy being the process in which life unfolds. Okay, and that's why spiritual alchemy to me is the place to look at when you're trying to figure out who you are, what path to take, what is the process. Alchemy is there to guide you through that process. In fact, it is the process of guiding you through that. So super, super, super important. Okay. Whenever it came from, the Emerald Tablet contains, okay, we have that Hermetic tradition of Delhi, the oldest in the West. The generic quality of its concepts allow the tablet to permeate the foundations of human civilization. And while no direct evidence links the tablet to Eastern religious, it shares uncanny similarities to concepts and terminology with Taoism, Hinduism, and Buddhism. In the West, the Emerald Tablet found a home not only in the pagan tradition, but also three of the Abrahamic religions: Judaism, Christian, and Islam. Many of the tenets of the Gnostics, influential religious sect of late antiquity, seem to take it directly from the Emerald Tablet. The Gnostics focus not on faith and contrition, but on the attainment of direct knowledge of reality through private psychological and meditative exercises. They sought purification of their own personalities so that they might develop gnosis or direct knowledge of ultimate truth, and they held uh, truth, and they held the light and the darkness, and the good and evil are equally eternal and both part of the wonder of creation. All is one was their creed. Now, this is the case. So we're looking at it from the perspective, and that's why I say alchemy is really an opportunity for us to hey Shadow, us to understand that there are things that are happening in this three-dimensional time space that we can't say don't. So we have the darkness and we have the light. And when we understand that they are all important and that we can utilize both of these energies, then we start to um, learn how to utilize the two for the greater good, for ourselves, for the purification of our own self, our own vessel, and our own walk through this life. and we're constantly purifying. So if somebody says, "Oh, I'm enlightened. I've reached the state." No, you would disappear, right? Because in this three-dimensional time space, there's always going to be suffering. And I want to say that the suffering doesn't have to last forever, right? It could be really quick, and it happens so fast. We're able to transmute the energy so fast that it's almost as there was no suffering. We learn how to utilize it and to shift it and to shape it and mold it into something new or redirect it. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. If somebody slaps you, you're still going to feel something. You may learn how to meditate yourself through that process, you know. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you had a great weekend too. I don't think Shadow's on here. I think he left. Okay. Or she. I don't know if Shadow's he or she. I don't know why I think he right away when I see Shadow. Okay. Let's see. More modern spiritual movements such as Freemasonry, the Rosicrucian, Theosophy, can say it, Golden Dawn, um, Ekankar, Fourth Way, and many New Age philosophies are based on the idea of first revealed in the Emerald Tablet. I keep telling people this. If you want to understand Masonic stuff, you want to understand Freemasonry, that's why people talk about conspiracy theories and all this. They end up in spiritual alchemy because it is the basis for all that was created. Now, when we look and we go back and we understand alchemy and we understand how these different um, orders or fraternities or private, um, they could be private orders, um, how they came to be, well, that's why, because they were using this information. Now, the misuse of this information becomes wreaks havoc on the earth and on people and on the planet. So we don't want to misuse it because there are dire consequences when we misuse it in a way that's going to harm. And that's kind of what we're seeing happen now. It's the misuse of this process. We see it playing out in societies right now. We see it playing out in the human condition. We see it playing out in the grand illusion, where people are looking to manipulate, right? Because that's part of it, manipulation of the elements, manipulation of the minds, manipulation of the body. So when someone can manipulate you on all those levels, right? But we have to consent, we have to give up our power. Otherwise, they're trying to do it by force, but never by force does it work. Let's look at 1986. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that movie. I think it's 1986. I'm almost sure that that's 1986. If I'm incorrect, please correct me. But 1986, a novel and a movie. And I had tried to read it and I just couldn't get into it. I tried to watch it at first and I was like, I can't get into it. Finally, I said, okay, everybody talks about it. Natalie, just get through it. So I tried to get through it. Wasn't I can't say it was my favorite film. Um, but what it did tell me is that the human condition always has choice, and it doesn't matter how much they try to tell us to think a certain way, we're really going to think the way that we want to think. So, for instance, in 1986, in the movie or the book, I didn't read the book. I couldn't, like I said, I just couldn't get into it. But when I watched the movie, they are trying to beat this guy to think a certain way. They want him to think a certain way, and he gets in trouble for, sleeping with this woman he's not supposed to, and they're trying to get him not to love her, and they've put him under all of these crazy circumstances, shock. They've done, I mean, all kinds of really awful things to try to condition him to what they wanted him to be. Really, all he did was finally surrender and say, fine, I'll say what you want me to say. But that doesn't mean internally he still felt that way. See, they couldn't change the way that he saw the world. They couldn't change his storyline. He just surrendered and said, "Fine, I just give up. I'll just do whatever you guys want me to do. I'll say whatever you want me to say so that you can stop the pain and suffering." So right now we're in a state where they're saying, "Hey, think this way," and they're trying to force people into thinking a certain way, but it's never going to work. I mean, that's part of who we are as humans. We have discernment, we have choice. We have to consent. If we don't consent and they do it by force, it's not that we're consenting, it's that we're surrendering because we don't want to suffer. That's not really consent, that's force. Different. So when something's forced upon you, you have to say or ask yourself these questions. Why is it being forced upon me? Why are they saying I don't have a choice? If it's being told to me that I don't have a choice and being forced upon me, something ain't right. It's not right. You see, because humans have a choice. We were born. That is our God given right to have a choice. We can't be coercing and pushing people. When we do that, we create or we evoke a sin, which is what is we're off the mark. We're forcing people into doing things that they don't want to do. That's taking away their ability to choose. See? So nobody should ever feel like their choices are being taken from them. So they're just when they're forced into it, they just surrender because then they're going to put pain and suffering on those individuals. They're going to find ways to apply pain. Where are their pain centers? Well, when we see it today, we see what's going on with freedom of choice, right? Is that they're putting pain on people. They're saying, well, if you don't do this, then guess what? You can't work. If you don't do this, you can't eat. That's not okay. There's something drastically wrong with that. It's not a conspiracy. It's not anything like that. It's human nature that we have the right to choose. I don't really care what people choose. They can choose what they want to choose. I'm not here to sway people anyway. People should just have a choice to choose what they want to. And even if we force people into doing something, doesn't mean that they wanted to. It means they were forced into it and they felt pressured. But in their mind, they didn't want to choose that. Or in their heart, they didn't want to choose that. That we should never in human life, we should never push people to that point. It's pretty ridiculous and crazy in my mind, okay? That's totally a Natalie opinion. But the mind of a human being, like we've got to, if we rise above it and we saw it objectively and we looked at it and we're like, what the hell is going on? We would see that what humans are doing is wonky, weird. The human condition, the human mind, where the human mind is going right now, the illusion that it's creating is weird as hell. Weird and distorted. It's just weird. The storyline's playing out weird. And people think that their opinions and what they're saying and their need to be right is going to sway people to do certain things, and that's not okay. People still have a choice. Whether they do or don't is up to them, their prerogative. We should never feel forced like that. It's pretty crazy, right? But it's happening. So there you go. Um, let's see here. More modern spiritual movements such as Freemasonry, Rosicrucian. Oh yeah, we talked about it. The reverence from which these diverse groups hold the tablet is exemplified in the following paragraph from Freemasonry. Okay, from Freemasonry, Morals and Dogma. And I wish Bahram was here because Bahram is the one who's sort of looking into the conspiracy. This is not a conspiracy. I'm telling you that if you're into conspiracy theories, you're going to end up in spiritual alchemy because it's all derived from spiritual alchemy. And that is the way we shape and create new worlds. Okay. Um, he who desires to attain the understanding of the grand word and the possession of the great secret ought to carefully to read the Hermetic philosophies and will undoubtedly attain initiation, as others have done. But he must take for the key of their allegories a single dogma of Hermes contained in its tablet of emerald. Okay. In the so-called Hermetic arts, the tablet is the basis of magical evocation and the doctrine of sympathetic magic or sympathic magic, in which powers from the above are drawn to the earth and fixed in talisman and statutes. So we look at this as, if you want to understand how they created the governments and all that stuff, it came from the Emerald Tablets, right? It came from that. And it's kind of funny because people will say, well, I only follow Christ and God. Well, not really, because you follow America if you are an American, and America was created from the Hermetic Emerald Tablets, which is a spiritual doctrine. So you're not really following that doctrine if you're living in America and you're following what the government tells you, because they've created their government based on these spiritual principles, which they've twisted into distorted manipulations and different ways of interpretation, and using dark magic, sorcery, to construct corporate giants. That's really what's happened. Now, is this a bad thing, a right thing, a wrong thing? It just is. It's not scary. You don't need to be afraid. You don't need to panic. You just need to know what you're dealing with. When you can see in the dark and you know what you're dealing with, you know how to move forward. If you understand who's creating the storyline and the plots and what kind of story they're creating, you can choose out of the storyline. You can just shut that book and you can go and write your own book. And that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. Write your own book. Stop living in the book that somebody else is writing for you, because the America itself was a book that was written by these people, these individuals who understood the Emerald Tablet and spiritual alchemy. The Freemasons, the Masonic lodges, the whatever you want to call it, the Dawn, the Knights Templar, all of it, every single one of it. Okay, you guys can go back and do your own research and look. Doesn't need to be feared, it needs to be understood. When it's understood and we understand the storyline that's playing out, we start to take back our power. We do not need to live in the storyline that was created for us, which was based. Now, I'm not going to say it wasn't solely based in maybe the idea of having purity. But at the end of the day, when you go back in history, it wasn't. There was bloodshed. They came here for a purpose, right? When they came and they said we conquered and they took over the lands, they weren't in harmony. No, they fought. This is my land. Get the hell off. Let me put a flag here. So, there was a lot of bloodshed. And yes, this has been happening since humans have been in existence. Cain and Abel, I went through that story as well. We go back historically and see people want to have ownership and they want to possess things. Well, the earth itself is just here for all of us so that we can live in harmony, but really humans just can't seem to do that. They just can't seem to get their shit together. It's quite crazy in my mind. Just get your shit together. It's enough space. Quit acting like 5-year-old children and saying, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine, don't touch my toy. It's not even yours. You don't even own it. Like the earth is like, get out of here. Shoe fly. So, but if you want to know, there you go. And you can go back and you can understand the Emerald Tablets. Now, what they did, because when we talk about alchemy, we talk about the dualities, we talk about the above and the below, and we talk about the inner and the outer, and the one mind and the one thing, meaning that there's still this duality within the process. And we see it played out here in this 3-dimensional time space. Dualities. We see black, white, up, down, right, wrong, either or, this or that, choices, right? We see that there's this sort of, it's almost the paradoxes, right? We get to paradoxes as we start to study and we get further and further and further. There seems to be this paradox or this split between things, and this duality. That duality that exists gets to be bridged into wholeness. But what they've done, it's very simple. It's not like what they did was so genius. All they did was they said, oh, there's a duality. Let's lean towards this side rather than that side. Let's make this side wrong and we'll make this side right. And then we'll just go with it. And then what they did is stopped honoring the wholeness of the entire story. They manipulated one part. We're not even running full steam. We're running on half a story right now. And it's his story, right? His story says it. We're running on his story right now. Where's her story? Non existent. See? Notice everything his, he. Man, 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 man. What happened to lady? What happened to the sacred feminine? Totally taken out of the storyline. Completely. Now, the storyline is shifting because the sacred feminine's waking up. So I've talked about this before, and it's starting to shift in the other direction. Now her story needs to come out. Really, what needs to happen is the balance between both. In order to have a harmonious way of living or walking in life, we need both. We see what happens when we lean too far to the patriarchy. It becomes a war, and this is mine and that's yours, and you can't have that, and don't touch it. This belongs to me. Really? Get out of here. That's what I want to say to all these people. Get out of here. Like, stop. But no, they continue to do that. This is mine. Give it to me. I'm going to hoard it. For what? To say you're all powerful and almighty. Congratulations. Yay for you. So proud of you that you just go and take all of this land and shoot everybody, and just it's all yours now. There you go. It's all yours. Take it. You win. So when we start to see it from that perspective, it seems a little silly, right? The predicament that we're in, but it's real. And so, it's you can't get people to open up their eyes to understand it, right? It's kind of like, well, oh, what do we do? You can't really just go in front of these people and kind of laugh. I mean, I probably would, because I do. I laugh in situations I'm not supposed to, and I would probably end up dead, shot, because they're like, ha, this is not funny, right? You go into the room with these people are very serious about what they're doing. They're so serious. In fact, it's almost like there's this nothing, no light is in them. It's all darkness. And, it's theirs. And you're like, just think about these world leaders. Like, imagine being in the room with them and trying to tell them, like, okay, this is ridiculous. What you're doing right now as a human, acting like you're a god, pretending that you own all this land and all these things, and this is all yours, and they're your people. You didn't, first of all, you didn't birth them out of your penis hole. Sorry, excuse my language, because a mother birthed them, first of all. And before you get on your high horse and act like you're this big, mighty thing, like, you're not a god, first of all. You're human, and you're making dumb choices. And really, what you're doing is you're coercing and forcing people into craziness, all for what? For the benefit of entertainment? Like, really, why are you doing it? For power? Because you want to feel like you have big cojones? I don't get it. It's just, to me, it's ridiculous. It's beyond ridiculous. But that's the human condition. And it believes it so much, that these people believe this so much in their mind, that they will continue with their agendas. That's how much they believe it. That's how much they think they know. They don't know shit. That's the reality. They don't know shit. And they've made a big mess of everything, is what's happened. And they're trying to clean up their tracks or hide their tracks. And they're just made a mess, is what they've done. I mean, let's put it in simple terms. We don't have to go through conspiracy theories. We can say they've made a big mess because why? They can't play nice in the sandbox. I mean, it's quite ridiculous. It's like, what? And I would laugh in their face, which I have before, and I've gotten in trouble with people because I just laugh, and it's probably not appropriate times, but I do. So I'm like, this is dumb. I didn't come here to play that game. I came here to enjoy life, to look at the beauty of the sky and the sunrise every morning, to breathe in the natural, beautiful air, not to pollute it with chemicals and whatever the hell. To eat of the earth that's abundance, because there's an abundance of stuff in the earth and we don't even realize it. There's food that we can eat off the side of the highway. We don't even know it because we haven't been taught. Why? Because someone wants to control our food, control us. Crazy. I mean, it's weird and twisted. I want to look at these people right in their eyes and just be like, what in the world? Like, where are you from? What are you, alien? Is something else embodying you? That you don't make sense. And besides, love the earth because she has a consciousness and you're taking her consciousness for granted. It's not cool. Okay? So there. That's what I want to tell these people. Get your shit together. Well, I hope they're listening to me, and they're absolutely not, because who am I? I'm nothing to them. I'm a flea in their eyes. I don't care. There are fleas in my eyes. How about that? Sorry. I'm going a little off today. I probably shouldn't be saying these things, but I am. There you go. I said it. No one cares anyway. Who cares? All of the 3 people following me. And maybe you don't even care. Okay, let's continue on as I go on a tangent here. So they did this. It was also the source of images seen on tarot cards and other divinatory tools. Those same images show up in the dreams and the imagination of people, undergo psychological transformation, and the tablet has become an important reference tool in the fields of analytical and transpersonal psychology, which is where I'm at. Transpersonal psychology, and that's where I'll be getting my PhD, is in transpersonal psychology. Now, this is how the actual United States and all of these things were created through the imagination. Okay. When we first got to America, all of the shit that we have right now, sorry, I've been cussy today, so just bear with me, didn't actually exist. We didn't have the Twin Towers that is now no longer there. We didn't have all of these structures and buildings. We had a structure. We had places where we would do ceremony and ritual. We had places where we were nomadic, and in certain seasons we'd go from place to place. But the societies that we see today arrived or derived from an imagination, from somebody's imagination of how society can look and be. Good morning, Malx Madero. Yeah, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Sorry. Our societies came from the imagination. That's why we live in an imagination. We don't live in a real world right now. We live in our imagination, somebody's imagination, the Masonic, whatever you want to call it, imagination. Okay? They came up with the system. You can call the Rockefellers and all that. You can go down the line if you want to. Okay? And you can find that they had this idea and they used their imagination, and because they had the tablet and they had the sacred teachings, they created civilizations based on it. That's really where it came from. Okay? So spiritual alchemy has some answers for you, but it doesn't have the remedy. You want to know why? Because you're the remedy. I'm going to keep telling you that over and over again. You are the remedy, not somebody's systems. You hold the system within you. That's what they did. They literally said, "Oh yeah, we have the system within us. We know how to use this work." The sacred teachings are available to everybody if they're wanting to know the sacred teachings. In the wrong hands, things go. Uh, you can see where they go in the wrong hands. We're seeing what's happening. That this information, this information I read is what they have. That's what they're following. See, people are like, well, they're following the Bible, they're following. No, they're not. They're following alchemy. The entire system was based on alchemy. So there you go. And it goes back to ancient times. So the very America was founded on this stuff. And it's the imagination of the people who created it. That imagination came to being, and now we are living in a distorted reality. And now people are waking up to it finally, and they're like, what the hell is this? And they're wanting to shape something new. Well, it's going to take imagination. You can't, it's not going, you're not going to do it within somebody else's imagination. You have to create your own. That's what I'm doing. Create my own. So there are communities that are popping up, people, individuals who are looking to create new communities, new ways of existence, new ways of engaging in the world, and you have that same power within you. It's that simple and that complicated as well, because it's been very easy. The system that we live in, we're so comfortable. They've left us so comfortable. It's like a frog in a cooked pot. We're comfortable, but the heat's slowly turning on. And before you know it, they're going to cook us. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to cook us. So wake up before that happens. Okay? You've been foretold. Don't be the frog in the pot. Jump out and jump out as soon as possible. Okay, without a doubt, the Emerald Tablet was the inspiration behind alchemy for centuries. Many medieval alchemists hung a copy of the tablet on the wall in their laboratories and constantly referred to the secret formula it contained. The alchemists really believed that the Emerald Tablet revealed truth to powerful and most people to handle, and invented secret alphabets and code phrases in which to discuss their progress in uninitiation. So the uninitiation Here we go, sorry. So the uninitiated would not comprehend the true spiritual nature of their quest. It says it right here, okay? Want to read that again so that you truly understand that everything was based in alchemy. There's esoteric wisdom. Esoteric wisdom is hidden wisdom that they hide from the masses. Okay? It's not in the it is so I'll say this, the conspiracy theories are a consequence of the process of spiritual alchemy used on the shadow side. So, spiritual alchemy used incorrectly, we see these conspiracy theories and this distorted way of engaging in the world. So, the alchemists really believe the Emerald Tablet revealed the truth to powerful and most people too powerful for most people and was too powerful for most people to handle, and invented secret alphabets and coded phrases in which to discuss their progress so the uninitiated would not comprehend the true spiritual nature of their quest. In other words, let me decipher this for you. They themselves created the intention in which other people would live because you're stupid. Basically that's what it's saying, that passage. People are too stupid to understand this information. Therefore, we will interpret it. Therefore, we will recode it and decipher it for ourselves. And we will create what we want to create. And we will leave everybody else stupid. That's basically what that passage is saying. And that's basically how they view people: stupid, not smart enough to understand the sacred teachings. And I'm here to say bullshit. And that's why I do this. That is why I do this podcast, because I'm telling you that you are smart enough. You are powerful enough. Now, the people that try to illuminate or open up the minds of all the people and try to give them the sacred teachings get in trouble, especially when they get the masses to start to hear and listen. They're not going to shut me up anytime soon. Not with my all of 4 or 5 people that follow me. They don't care. I'm just like a flea to them, like I said. They don't know, or they ain't paid attention, or they don't care. I'm telling you right now, they think we're stupid. They don't think we deserve to understand the sacred teachings. When you think about the Pope, the Queen, and all this shit, and this is not just in America, right? If we looked at how they played out the whole roles, we looked at the tarot, and we understand the tarot, okay? The Queen has to go through initiation. There's certain things she has to do. The Pope, The Pope is the Hierophant within the tarot deck. Look at the tarot and relate it to the world today. You'll see the entire storyline played out. They're playing a role, and they're acting as though they're gods. This is a big issue. Okay, this is the issue. And they're looking at us like we're just whatever, we're stupid. We could never understand the sacred teachings, and because we'll never understand it, it doesn't really matter. They don't really care what we're doing. They're not really paying attention to what we're doing because we're too stupid to even get it anyway. That's what they think. And I say, no, that's not true. They're not the only ones who come to this sacred wisdom. Anybody who's willing to go through it, the fire and the flame, will find the sacred teachings. And they can free their mind. They can free their hearts. They can let their soul be free. They don't have to be shackled by the chains of their distorted storylines and twisted ideas and twisted ways of creating a world that's God knows what the hell's going on. Weird shit. And then they say that it's in the wrong hands, or it could get in the wrong hands. Well, yeah, it ended up in the wrong hands. It's obvious that it's not in the hands of people who are important and want to really help the world. We had people show up that really wanted to do something of value within the work of spiritual alchemy. And guess what happened to them? They got killed. It's true. They did. It's a shame we have to have fire and flames. Well, I wouldn't say it's a shame. We need fire and flame. Fire and flames, the story of the phoenix, the rise and the fall of the phoenix. From the ashes we rise. Fire creates new life. So fire is important. But how we use the fire is what's, the problem. How are they using the fire? So it's hard, right? Because I have, whatever. People will listen to what they're going to listen to. I mean, I'm not attached. I'm going to keep speaking no matter what, and the people that are meant to get the message will. That's just the way it goes. They will or they won't. But I'm telling you right now, what they're telling you to your face is that you're stupid. That's what they're saying. You're dumb. You don't deserve to have the sacred teachings unless you get initiated. And if you get initiated into our lodges, right, then we can only give you what we think you deserve. And if you don't go up in the hierarchy, well, we're going to keep certain information away from you because you don't deserve to have it. So we're just going to keep it from you. And then we're going to make decisions based on what we think is best for you. And then you're just going to have to you're just going to have to go with it because you don't even know what our intentions are. That's what it says. And that's exactly what happens. We don't know what their intentions are. And it's ended up in the hands of people who are doing dumb shit. And we had, like I said, individuals. So we had people who were like, free energy. We know how to utilize that because they worked with nature. They didn't try to manipulate nature. They said, we can work in harmony with nature. And then somebody said, no, we're going to manipulate nature and we're going to make a profit and you're going to shut up. And if you don't, well, then we're going to kill you. And so then they did. See, not a conspiracy. It's more of a shut up because nobody gets to have the sacred wisdom, the esoteric wisdom that only a few initiates can get. And if we give it to other people, they're going to do dumb shit. Well, they did dumb shit. They're doing dumb shit. Really, they are. There you go. I said it. It's the truth. You don't have to dig deep to see how distorted our world is right now. So that's what it was. Okay. And they simply said it. The alchemists believed that the Emerald Tablet revealed truths too powerful for most people to handle. Okay. So they were too powerful. Um, so they created secret alphabets and coded phrases in which to discuss their progress. Okay. So they had these secret lodges. This is the beginning of what we call the Templar, the secret lodges, where they met in hiding, right? It's not a conspiracy. They just did it because they didn't want us to know how they were doing it, so that the uninitiated would not comprehend the true spiritual nature of their quest. They took away the spiritual nature of our own quest. They took it away. And I'm trying to say you can get it back, but it's not easy and it takes work. And there are consequences if you don't know what you're doing. So I highly suggest that you don't go out there running amok. You can if you want to see what happens. It'll slap you right in the face. That's why all these individuals who are doing crazy shit right now with this work, this sacred text, are looking pretty bad. I can say that right now. They don't look too good because they have to keep up with their craziness. Not going so well for them. And it's not going to. It's going to slap them back right in the face, and their consequences are rippling out. And guess what? We're going to suffer those consequences too because everybody's interconnected. It's the way it works. All right. Well, I just went on a whole rant today. So there you go. Thanks, Quadu, for hanging in there with me. What to do? Find the sacred teachings. The sacred teachings exist within you. You have access to them. You have a way to tap into that and co-create yourself. A world of harmony and peace would be nice, please. I'm tired of playing these games of craziness and whatever games they're playing. I'm just over it. It's exhausting, to be quite honest with you. Like, can you get over it already? The lies and manipulation. It's exhausting, these people. Look at the people at the top. They don't look healthy at all. None of them. They don't look very good. They look very sick, and it looks like they need to probably surrender and let go. That's what happens when you have to keep lying. Drains your body. The vessel can't handle it. And it can't even handle living in this state of mind forever. You know, they're losing their damn minds. They don't know what to do. It's ridiculous. All right, so there you have it. Love you guys. I will see you all tomorrow. Have a beautiful, magnificent, magical, marvelous Monday. And I will see you all soon. Bye.